sometimes I really wonder if like I'm okay. Like sometimes I'll wake up in the morning and think that I can make like the next Instagram. These delusions only last like a few days, a week at most, because I get bored. I get bored very easily. One day I'll be like, man, I can make the next Instagram. The next day I will literally be on the computer playing The Sims 4. But once in a while, an idea sticks. And once it sticks, it does not matter, man. How many people tell me like not to do this idea? I am literally going to do it, whether you like it or whether you don't. So naturally, that's why I had to create a game framework. Now, I did actually try to do things the correct way or whatever. Like I did try to actually make a game before creating a game framework, because you know, people say if you want to create a game, you don't create a game framework. If you want to create a game framework, you don't create anyways, like the moral of the story is that I actually tried to do things the normal way. I decided to use the Godot engine to create my game just because, you know, I was familiar with Python and, you know, I wanted to keep things simple, keep things easy so that I would actually, you know, finish a game. And the rest is history, guys. You know, I released my game on Steam. I got, you know, millions of copies, millions of downloads. I'm a millionaire now. I'm just doing YouTube for the giggles and fun. I'm like, I'm living life, man. It'd be so nice, man, if that were true. But it's not. I started working on the game called Baking Frenzy. I started just with the Godot character and then also the ingredients being represented as rectangles. And I just wanted to make sure that movement collision worked. And once it did, I was then able to start working on the art to make it actually, you know, look more like a game. And then I was even able to replace a placeholder art with my own art. So I actually went from like rectangles to gameplay like pretty fast. And at this point, what I should have done was, you know, focus on polishing my game. But instead I decided that, man, this game was boring. So I needed to add more fun features. So I was like, okay, let's add a leveling system. And then with a leveling system, obviously you need to save stuff. So I was like, all right, let's make a save system. And then I was like, a leveling system and a save system. What else could we add? Oh, an upgrade system. Because why? Don't ask me why. I don't know why. And I overscoped my game. I was spaghettifying my code. It was unreadable. It was really confusing. Something that started so simple became so convoluted. So it went straight into the graveyard of unfinished projects. And then during the holidays came my greatest idea to make a game framework. And if you think that I wanted to make a game framework for like the money, for like the experience, for like the clout, like you're totally wrong. I was out of town during the holidays, so I had all of this free time. I was watching a lot of people create game engines, and I was like, if these people can do it, then I should be able to do it too. That's how, you know, Penguin 2D came to be. So the goal of Penguin 2D was to make it similar to popular frameworks like Monogame and Pygame, but for C++. Now, why did I choose C++? That is a very good question. I cannot answer that for you, because I don't know why I chose C++. Probably what I was trying to do was trying to familiarize myself again with the language. So that's the most sensible explanation I can think of. Now, my first task was getting a window on the screen using CMake. If you don't know what CMake is, honestly, I am so jealous of you. Like, bless your soul, because CMake is a nightmare, man. It is one of the worst things that I've ever had to learn in my life. And it's so annoying, man, that CMake is one of the only ways to make your projects cross-platform. But anyways, after, you know, my countless hours struggling, I was able to finally, you know, do Hello World with CMake, so pat on the back. I got the window working actually relatively well. And then afterwards, I wanted to, you know, draw stuff onto the screen, because how can you create a game when you don't have like any means to, you know, draw stuff onto the screen? So I also only had to like call a function to draw rectangles on the screen. So that process honestly went smooth, it went easy, and I was just really happy at this point. And then came the input system. I wrote this event handler system thinking that, you know, I was a genius, like I was the smartest person on earth. I actually don't know like what, like, I I don't even have words, man, to describe like what I was on when I was designing this. Like, I literally was so proud of myself at the time. I thought this was like the best thing that I had created like thus far in like my coding journey, right? Like on my GitHub README, it says that this was designed with like modularity and flexibility in mind. And I'm just like, bro, what? Flexibility where? Where is the flexibility, man? It was just not good. Like, it was just not good, man. Even with that code, I still continued to create my game framework. And finally, after all of that hard work, I actually made Pong with it, guys. It is crazy. I was even able to make a really simple AI. So that is Pong. Okay, so I had a game framework. I successfully created a game with it. So the next step was for me to actually turn it into a library so I could actually use it with other projects. Now, since I had a game framework and I had a game, you know, everything should have went smoothly, you know, there shouldn't have been any issues. I did not actually realize how bad this would be. It was no longer sunshine and rainbows, guys. It was despair, anxiety, straight up depression. I tried changing just one setting in my build system. And then my input system stopped working. My Pong game stopped working. Everything stopped working. The problem was CMake, man. I cannot tell you, bro, like how annoying CMake is. I had little to no comments. I understood, like, I'd love to say, you know, I understood 50%, but like, if I'm being honest, 10% at most. Basically, at this point, I could either try to understand that CMake garbage and mess that I had, or to start afresh. And that's how Penguin Framework came to be. I finished creating the rendering system, including sprites and text rendering, and right now I've been working on the input system. I have various different input events, including keyboard, mouse button, mouse motion, and mouse wheel events, expanding from Penguin 2D. After the input system is finished, I'll just need to update my old code from Penguin 2D to Penguin Framework, and then I'll be able to rewrite Pong and eventually make a game with this framework. It's been honestly a lot of work, but it's also been super duper fun actually challenging myself to create a game framework. Some people may think that why create a game framework? There are much easier things that you could have done. I just love challenging myself and trying to do things. And at first when I started it, I didn't think I was actually going to like create this much code. I didn't think I was actually going to still be doing this, you know, over a year later. So I'm proud of myself, you know, and I'm really excited to just see where Penguin Framework goes. So I made a game framework called Penguin Framework. Bye for now. Oh, and if you're wondering also like why I decided to name it Penguin Framework, it's because penguins are my favorite animal.